again for another absolutely terrific video. Today I'm just going to do another football roundup because there's nothing really much to talk about. So start off with who should Man United appoint next? So firstly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been sacked and he started crying on video, on an interview right after the game. I mean, come on, he's not that interested in Man United. He's not like he's Paul Scholes, who come through the academy, who's from Manchester area, loves Manchester United. Gary Neville, that type. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you played for probably about a decade, but you didn't really because you were off the bench a lot. You did that thing in '99, coming off and just flicking the ball in the goal. We know. What are you crying for? Like, Roy Keane must be absolutely cringing because I've never seen a manager cry on live interview. Well, it would have been live when he recorded it. I've never seen a manager cry. It is very strange. It's just, they hated you. Is that why you're crying? You just offended? Like, you did a bad job. You've run United into the ground. People are saying you've left them in a better position. I don't think you have, because you've just wasted 3 years of Rashford. You developed him a bit. Yes, the players are better, but that's nothing to do with you. That's because United signed them. I don't understand why you were crying. Anyway, move on. Who should they appoint? I've got a few names written down here. First of all, I think Man United would sign Carrick up on a 2-year deal because they're so naive, but they're not as naive as you think, the board. They know he'd be cheaper, and he's already there. And he's a Man United legend. So that'd be hilarious if they did the whole thing again with Carrick. And then they could sign Ole as one of his coaches. Imagine that. And then you have Zidane. He'd be a good one, but apparently he doesn't want to come to England. Not even the Premier League. Like, it's not just living in England he's worried about. He just doesn't want to do it. I heard Julian Lorenz, French journalist, say he doesn't want a long career, blah blah blah. Okay, fine. Maybe he just wants to do the jobs that he's interested in. He has a connection with, like, the French national team, maybe Juventus, the teams that he loves. So there's that. I think he would do a good job, but if he doesn't want to do it, no point. He doesn't speak English also, so that's a difficult one. Pochettino, I think, is probably the best choice here because he knows the Premier League. He knows English for a start. He is dealing with big players, but he's not getting the best out of those big players, is he? So we'll have to look at that. But he is a good manager. He's probably the best that's available. So he's not available though. So what we're talking about? So strange, we're talking about a manager who's at PSG. Last night in the Champions League they lost, but only 2-1 against probably the best team in the world. He's still under contract with PSG. I keep forgetting that because people keep saying they're going to get Pochettino. Well, why would PSG let him go? If it was Lille or Lyon, smaller team, PSG are smaller than Man United, but they are a lot more to them. They've got Messi, Mbappe and Neymar up front. I'd love to work with those if I was the coach. That's your dream, isn't it? Right, move on. Brendan Rodgers. I don't know why you want Brendan Rodgers right now because he's in very bad form at Leicester. Got the 13th. It's not going well. And Leicester are about to fire Brendan Rodgers, I think. Why would you go for Brendan if they're about to fire him? Strange, but he obviously is a good coach. But I said this before, he's not a title-winning coach. He's a top 6 coach. He'd get your team, he's doing a very good job at Leicester, he'd get your team around 5th, 4th for a period of time. It's up to United, but the last one is even more hilarious than Carrick. Steve Bruce has put his hand up and said, "Hey, remember me? Remember me? I was the captain about 20 years ago. I just did a job at Newcastle, kept him up. Can I just join in? Like, I'm going to be pretty bored now for the next, well, the rest of my career, because no one's going to sign me in a contract. What are you doing, Bruce? United aren't going to call for you, are they? And then you got Peter Schmeichel, legendary goalkeeper, backing his mate up, saying, "Yeah, give Bruce the job." Bruce? Why would you give Bruce the job? No one calls him Steve Bruce, and they just call him Bruce because Brucey. He's more of a Bruce, isn't he? What a weird guy. Obviously you want the job, Steve Bruce. Obviously. Who wouldn't? I'll put my hand up. Can I have the job? I'm terrible at coaching. Never done it before. Alright. Let's leave Steve Bruce alone. So out of them, I'd probably say my likely candidate would be Michael Carrick. I wouldn't pick Michael Carrick. I'd pick Pochettino. But I think they're going to give Michael Carrick a year's deal or something, or a 2-year deal. I don't know why. He's already there. It's easy. Sign this, Michael. You're the coach now. And then you go the whole roller coaster again. He starts selling players. He starts signing players. Oh, it's all about the process. Ah, shut up. All right, next. Lazy, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. Lazy, Neymar, Messi, Mbappe. So there's a fourth name to this list, lazy. Because last night was absolutely pathetic. It was... how many? 8 players at PSG and then them 3. I'm being a bit harsh on Mbappe. He does run, but he only runs when he knows he's going to get the ball. So he's sprinting forward when the ball comes, because as soon as it gets to the last 30% of the pitch for PSG, where they're standing, they come alive. And the rest, they're just standing like this. Yeah, we're here. Get the ball. So you got Herrera. Who was it? Herrera. The number 8, Paredes. And see, this is what I do. I do it more natural, off memory. I've got a few notes. Paredes, Herrera, and the third guy. Oh yeah, Gay. That's his name, Gay. So them 3 are not going to be creative, but they are going to sprint and battle for the whole game. Not fair on them though. It's really not fair, because all they do, especially Neymar and Messi, them 2, I would have thought Messi under the Guardiola stewardship years ago, I would have thought he'd be more involved in the pressing, like he'd be some sort of trigger. But he's not, and if you looked back, you probably notice he just stands there. So I love Messi, I love all 3 of them, but if they're going to work, as in this is going to win them the Champions League, they're going to have to work, because they're not working. They had a few chances last night. If they'd have just at least half pressed, it doesn't have to be organised, just run to the ball if the opposition have got it. Stop them, because Man City, they looked so good. They looked so comfortable, spraying it about. They were keeping up some flicks, their defenders. It's crazy. I'm not impressed with that front 3. That's not the best in Europe. Liverpool's is. And there's probably a few more. So, that's what I've got to say about that. Last one is Shaun Murphy complaining about losing to a amateur player, apparently amateur. I know this isn't a footy, but I've just added it in because I was listening to TalkSport, a footy show, and they had him on because they probably thought this is hilarious. Andy Goldstein and Darren Goff obviously didn't bark back at him. Andy was pushing a bit, but they obviously didn't agree with him. If they'd have pushed him too hard, they would have just hung up and never called TalkSport again. So they probably got told, and they probably just don't really care because it's such nonsense. So basically, the tabloid says, not tabloid, the quote, amateurs should not be allowed to play in professional snooker tournaments. And coincidentally, after he lost to this amateur. What is an amateur? An amateur is a player who doesn't get paid, I guess. It's sometimes a level, but in this it's not obviously a level because he's in there. Professional just means it's your way of income. You get paid for it every time, whether you win the tournament or not. He still gets paid because he's a professional. why should this amateur not grow into a professional by playing against you? Obviously, you're not very good because you just lost to this. I don't even know this guy. I'm not getting into it because it's not really what I'm into. Snooker. I just thought, how petty is it and bad sportsmanship to just, what, all these amateurs, you're just going to write him off and just, it sounds like a Super League. He wants the Super League of snooker, if that's such a thing. A Super League of snooker. Only the super players can join this league. If you're an up and coming team, like say a Leipzig up and coming team into Europe, what if they said, oh no, we've not been in, I've not seen you around these parts before. You're not allowed in. You're not allowed in the Champions League because you haven't been a professional team for long enough. Blah, blah, blah. Sure, Murphy, do one. You don't know what you're saying. And then he says that a load of other snooker players, professional snooker players, agree with this. Obviously, because they want less competition so they can stay at the top and rinse that gold at the top. Mark Selby and Mark Williams. I know Mark Selby. But this is stupid. And TalkSport, I wish they put it on with Simon Jordan, because he would have rinsed this guy. He does not care, Simon Jordan. One of my favourite, I wouldn't call him pundits, because he is a pundit. I'd say he's a pundit now. It's not fair, says Murphy. It's not fair. How is it not fair? This guy you're playing's probably working at Tesco or something. Has to train or just play snooker in his shed or down the pub. Oh, sure, Murphy, you got a weird looking face, you little goblin. See you later.